everyone, today we are going to learn about diffusion and osmosis process. So first of all, we'll get a difference between diffusion and osmosis, how it works in our daily life or how it works in our body also. Like today, because of cell lesson, we are going to discuss about this topic, called it as diffusion and osmosis. These are all two processes where energy will transport, okay, or the substances will transport from one place to the another place. It sometimes for a movement of a substance it requires some energy, or sometimes it does not require any energy in our body. I'm talking about in the cell. Our body is made up of a cell. We all know that, okay. Cell is the structural and functional unit of a body. Everyone, we know this one also. So in a cell, how the substances, I mean like exchange of gases or exchange of nutrients, how it takes place, okay. How it takes place, how the substances moves inward of a cell or outward of a cell. So because of two processes, there are two processes are present, like diffusion is one method and osmosis is another method, where the substances will move from one place to the another place, whether while we talk in our body, that is in a cell. Sometimes diffusion happens and some other times the osmosis process is also occurs as well. This diffusion and osmosis process occurs outside of our body, like in our nature also. So I am going to give some examples about how it will works in inside of our body and in our surroundings, okay. So first of all, let us learn what is a diffusion process. So I'll start with one example, okay. I'll start with an example so that you can easily understand and you can easily remember the definition of it, okay. You can easily remember the definition of it. Fine. So let us take some gaseous substances. We can take anything, any gas in our nature, like nitrogen or helium or oxygen or carbon dioxide, anything, but we are familiar to the oxygen because it is our respirable gas, which we can, why we are staying alive, because of the oxygen, everyone knows it. So let us take an oxygen as an example, O2, okay. So if an O2, in a first case, I'm talking about the first case 1. So if an O2 molecules are here are like 6 molecules of oxygen are present in a one case 1, and 3 molecules of oxygen are present in a case 2. So what happens to this O2 molecules? So here, because of 6 molecules, when you are comparing to the case 2, here this is considered as in a case 1 and consider this is as in a case 2. So here case 1, when you are taking in a case 1, what you can observe when you are comparing case 1 to the case 2, here the oxygen molecules are more. How many molecules of oxygen are there? 6 molecules. Here how many molecules are there? Only 3 molecules. So here we can say here oxygen molecules are high in number. So this is called it as high concentration. Already we have studied this concentration and all this terminology in 7th class itself. So please recollect all that knowledge. Okay, this is what high concentration of oxygen are present when you are comparing to the case 2. Here we have very lesser concentration of oxygen molecules, isn't it? So what happens here, the oxygen molecules where there are higher concentration will move to the lower concentration. higher concentration of molecules or the substances moves always towards the lower concentration. Understood? So here what is diffusion? Now you can easily define what is diffusion. So what is diffusion? Movement of molecules from higher concentration to the lower concentration or higher region to the lower region is called it as diffusion. Very easy thing. Okay, when you remember this thing, when you remember this example, you can happily write down the definition. So no need to ready, please understand the concept so that you can happily write down the definition of it. So what is diffusion now? Say with me. The movement of molecules from molecules of a substance. You can write it down of a substance also, because molecules are present in a substance, right? So the movement of molecules of a substance from which region to which region? Higher region to the lower region. Always diffusion. What is diffusion beta? The movement of molecules of a substance or the movement of a molecules moves from higher concentration to the lower concentration or higher region to the lower region. This is called diffusion. Okay, for your easy example or easy understanding, I have given you case 1 and case 2 as an example. So you have to remember one more thing, that diffusion occurs. Mostly it occurs in gaseous substances. Mostly it occurs in a gaseous substances, and sometimes it happens in a liquid. In a liquid substance. Substances are all 3 types, we all know it, isn't it? Solids, gaseous and state of a substance. Okay, so here diffusion mainly takes place, underline it, mainly takes place in a gaseous substances and sometimes also happens in a liquid substances. Okay, and when you are taking as an example where it works in our body, okay, already you might have common idea what is this diffusion and what is the definition of it, right? So, and where it occurs mostly it occurs in a gaseous substances and sometimes it occurs in a liquid substance. Now we are going to discuss about how this diffusion works in our body. Okay, how this diffusion occurs in our body? In sometimes, like in a cell, already you know the structure of a cell, isn't it? Animal cell, plant cell, already you have studied. Okay, this is a cell and we have all the cell organelles in it, nucleus, mitochondria, everything in it, isn't it? Already we know riboplasm, endoplasmic reticulum, everything we know it. This is this is a typical cell. So this diffusion occurs in a gaseous exchange like carbon dioxide and oxygen. We require which type of a gas? Oxygen. So when there is a lesser amount of oxygen in a cell, the higher the oxygen molecules, when you breathe in, from where we will get an oxygen? When you breathe, then only we will get an oxygen. So when you breathe in, what happens? Oxygen enters into your body and into the cell. So here you have a higher concentration of oxygen comparatively into the cell. So the oxygen molecules moves from higher concentration to the lower concentration, and vice versa, like carbon dioxide will be more here, so carbon dioxide will move from higher concentration to the lower concentration through the out, and you will breathe out. Understood? In this method, we like in this process, the diffusion will takes place in our body. This is one example of it when you are talking inside of our body, and when you are coming to the outside, like these are all examples. Okay, inside of a body, in a cell, or outside of a body is like when you easy example is perfume. When you use a perfume, so perfume bottle contains more amount of some scent, isn't it, like some aromatic smell substances, everything will be present more in a perfume bottle. When you spray the nozzle of a perfume bottle, what happens, it will move from higher concentration to the lower concentration, and it will spreads all over that place, isn't it? As well, you can remember some smell of a jasmine flower also. When someone is having a jasmine flower in their hair, so we can also feel it. Why? Because it is releasing their aromatic cell from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Also, when you open a soda drinks or a soft drinks, the carbon dioxide which is present highly in that bottle, when you suddenly open it, what happens, it will burst out and it will comes out, isn't it? So that also an example of diffusion process. Okay, I hope you all understood the diffusion process. Let me recollect again. Diffusion is nothing but, I'm sorry, I should not say nothing but, diffusion is the process where it happens inside of our body and in our surroundings also. It is one type of an process where the substances will move. And one more thing I want to say here is, diffusion, does it requiring any energy? Does it requires any energy for the movement of one region to the another region? It does not require any energy. It will not consume or it will not utilizes any energy. That is also one important point, you have to remember it. Okay, diffusion is the process where movement of molecules from higher concentration to the lower concentration, or higher region to the lower region. It mainly occurs in the gaseous substances, and when it occurs in the gaseous substances, it occurs very fast. Okay, when this diffusion occurs in a liquids, it will takes more time. Like when here gaseous substances, it takes very fastly, whereas in the liquids, if this happens, diffusion process happens, it will take more time. This is also one more point. Okay, I hope you all understood what is diffusion and how it works in our body. Okay, and next we are going to learn about osmosis process. Osmosis, it is also one type of a process where the movement of substances will takes place, or movement of molecules will takes place. So you have to clearly remember, or you have to clearly understand what is diffusion and what is osmosis. Osmosis is slightly difficult to understand. Okay, you should not get confused. So I will start as usually. I will start with some example. I'll take one medium. Okay, I'll take one medium. What is this? Anyone have an idea about it? What is this? It is called semi-permeable membrane. Did you heard this anytime? Semi-permeable membrane. Yes, if you remember, it is well and good. Very good. What is semi-permeable membrane actually here? Already we have learnt in a cell lesson, which is present in 8th class, isn't it? The cell, which is the outer layer of a cell, is called it as what? The outer layer of a cell is called it as cell membrane, as everyone know it. And what is the nature of cell membrane? It is a semi-permeable membrane. What do you mean by semi-permeable? What is permeable? It will gives the permission. Already I have said you, isn't it? Permeable is a permission. What is semi? It will selectively give permission for some substances for the movement. Understood? For the movement, it will only allows selective things. It only allows what? Selective things. Understood? Selective things to move from one place to the another place is called it as what? Semi-permeable membrane. In diffusion process, you will not have any semi-permeable membrane involvement, whereas in the osmosis, you will have the involvement of what? Beta? Semi-permeable membrane. As well, we can take some salt solution or sugar solution, anything. Okay, let us take a sugar solution. Sugar I am giving with the pink color. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, and with the water, how it will make a sugar solution? Sugar when it dissolves in a water, as you all know. So here 4 and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here 10 molecules of, like, you have complete 10 sugar solution. Okay, and the another case you will have like sugar more here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Let us take more. 1, 2, 3 is a what? Water molecules. Okay, you will understand. See here, that is why I have colored two differently. Okay, sugar is a pink color and water is in a blue color. Now say me which one is dilute solution and which one is concentrated solution. Concentrated sugar solution or dilute sugar solution, which one? Please guess. So I'll get an answer like this will be a, see, when you have in a bottle or in a glass of a water, when you take a glass of a water and when you add very little amount of a sugar in it and when you mix it, so that forms a sugar solution as well. When you are taking the another case, like you will take less amount of water and you will add more sugar solution. So what happens there? The sugar quantity will be more, and that called it as what? Concentrated sugar solution, isn't it? Concentrated sugar solution. And here dilute solution, dilute sugar solution, or you can call it as concentrated or dilute sugar solution or concentrated sugar solution. So this is the case we are going to learn how this osmosis process takes place, or you can take it as an example also. Here you should get what? Better semi-permeable membrane, whereas in the diffusion process you will not have any semi-permeable membrane, where it only movement happens from a higher concentration to the lower concentration. Here when you are coming to the osmosis process, okay, so listen very carefully. Here in the osmosis process we have dilute solution and concentrated solution. As just now I said, dilute solution means which have more amount of water molecules and lesser amount of a solute and solvent makes a solution. Already we know it, isn't it? Here what is a solute now? Sugar is a solute. You can take salt or you can take anything. Okay, here is a solute is a salt, sugar, and solvent is a universal solvent is a water. Here is also a concentrated solution where solute plus solvent make a concentrated sugar solution. So what happens in osmosis processes? Listen very carefully. What is diffusion? Movement of molecules from higher concentration to the lower concentration, right? Here is also the same thing. Diffusion happens. What is diffusion? Higher concentration to the lower concentration, or dilute solution to the concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane. Understood what I am saying? diffusion happens in a molecule. The movement of molecules, or the diffusion happens in a movement of molecules from dilute solution to the concentrated solution. Like these are all moved. This, see how many water molecules are there. 6 moles of water molecule are there in this first thing, isn't it? Water molecules are 6 thing, and only sugar molecule, how many are there? 4. Isn't it? This is a dilute solution because here there are many water molecules when you are comparing to the next case, isn't it? Here you can see how many water molecules, only 3 water molecules. That means here you have a concentrated sugar solution, isn't it? And you have 7 sugar molecules, isn't it? So that is why what happens, this water will move from one place to the another place. From where to where it will move? The movement of molecules happens in a diffusion process, or the movement of molecules from dilute solution to the concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane. If you are not writing this answer like semi-permeable membrane, if you are not mentioning this thing, you will not get any mark. So please remember it. Osmosis process only happens when there is a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, the movement of molecules from dilute solution to the concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane is called it as osmosis. Okay, here just higher concentration to lower concentration, that's it. But here in the osmosis process, what happens, beta? Movement of molecules from higher concentration, dilute solutions to the concentrated solution, or diffusion from dilute solution to the concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane is called it as osmosis. Okay, this osmosis happens only in the liquids. You have to remember it. It does not happens in a gases, or it does not happens in a solids. It only happens in a liquids. Whereas your diffusion happens in a gaseous substances, and sometimes it happens in a liquid substances, isn't it? Whereas when you are coming to the osmosis process, it only happens in the liquids. Okay, in our body, in our cell, here when you are taking an example, osmosis happens, this is a cell, so the gaseous exchanges will happen by the process called it as diffusion, whereas some nutrients will enter into the cell because of the osmosis process, like food molecules or some liquid substances, minerals, everything will enter into the cell by the process called it as osmosis. Also in your daily life activities, when you are boiling an egg or a potato, when you are boiling some eggs and potato, they will follow what? Osmosis. Where here when you are taking an egg and putting in a salt water, what happens? The salt concentration and the water concentration will be very less when you are comparing into the vessel and the egg. So that is why here it will move from dilute solutions to the concentrated solutions. Okay. And when you are taking a potato also, when you are boiling it, same process will happen. Also the plant root helps in the absorbing of water, isn't it? The plant root cell, root hair will also involve, or it will undergo the process called it as osmosis, where it will collect or it will absorb the water from the root hair into the plant. Understood? These are all the examples of osmosis, and there are all examples of the diffusion. If you have any queries, please ask me. Okay, bye, all the best.